Graham Hancock says ancient civilization wiped out by a massive comet 22,000 years ago. Graham Hancock is well known among archaeologists and scholars who have ventured to take a fresh look at ancient history. He became the most outspoken opponent of the established timeline of human civilization's evolution. He gave proof of how a large astronomical object wiped out a far older human civilization than known settlements. Mr. Hancock suggested several alternate explanations that may not be accepted by conventional archaeologists. He claimed, for example, that certain ancient constructions, such as the Great Sphinx, were actually vestiges of a far earlier level of human civilization that existed before the end of the last ice age. He based his idea on the link of cultural and geological occurrences in places as far as Indonesia, Turkey, Egypt, and India. These findings suggest that a human civilization existed considerably earlier than experts assume. In other words, advanced civilization existed long before the Mesopotamian and Egyptian civilizations, which Orthodox archaeology says were the origins of human civilization. Hancock suggests that ancient civilizations such as Egyptians, Mayans, and Mesopotamians had merely acquired the knowledge of a far more evolved civilization that existed 6,000 years or more before them and was destroyed by a tremendous calamity. The same calamity that ended the previous ice age abruptly about 12,000 years ago. That's the Clovis comet that put an end to the Clovis Native Americans and the megafauna and megaflora. Now, the gods, magicians, he wrote the book Magician of the Gods. Hancock mentions traveling to various regions of the world to gather evidence for a lost ancestor civilization, which he claims vanished during a cataclysmic upheaval at the conclusion of the last ice age, owing to a run-in with the broken shards of a large comet. He speculated that this comet is associated with the famed Taurid meteor shower, which occurs late June to early July, and again now, late October, early November. He contended that this meteor shower contains massive remnants of a massive comet that broke up for unknown reasons around 20,000 years ago, the shards of which collide with the North American and European ice sheets, causing the apocalyptic Younger Dryas around 12,900 to 11,700 years BC phase of the Ice Age. The impacts from comet fragments a mile wide, approaching at more than 60,000 miles an hour, generated huge amounts of heat that instantly liquidated millions of square kilometers of ice, destabilizing the Earth's crust and causing the global deluge that's remembered in myths all over the world, Hancock wrote. Now, a second sequence of similarly terrible hits, resulting in further calamitous inundation, happened 11,600 years ago. That's about the time of the sinking of Atlantis. Now, the precise period given by Plato for the destruction and submersion of the continent of Atlantis. The data presented in this book proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that an advanced civilization that flourished throughout the Ice Age was destroyed in the worldwide cataclysms that occurred between 12,800 and 11,600 years ago. According to Mr. Hancock, the dramatic re-emergence of cold was caused by a comet that struck the polar caps, causing massive floods and filling the sky with dust for almost 1,000 years. The researcher participated in several adventures, reaching places as intriguing as Gunung Padang in Indonesia. There he discovered the remnants of a columnar basalt pyramid dated from 22,000 BC or earlier, according to him. Those who survived the cataclysm, known to ancient civilizations as the sages or the magicians or the shining ones and the mystery teachers of heaven, sailed throughout the world in their ships, preserving the signs of the fated civilization. They settled in Turkey in Göbekli Tepe, Lebanon at Baalbek, Egypt at Giza, ancient Sumer, Mexico, Peru, and Indonesia. According to specialists, the most significant proof of the repercussions of a catastrophic scenario is Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which is more than 9,600 years old. According to Hancock, the place was used by survivors of the apocalypse to retain at least some knowledge of the civilization that was decimated in order to pass it on to future generations. According to the experts, it's no accident that the first evidence of civilization's reemergence in the form of the oldest known megalithic structures, as well as agricultural expertise, were discovered in Göbekli Tepe 11,000 years ago. This period exactly aligns with the Younger Dryas and the restoration of a more comfortable global climate. Magicians of the Gods, this is of course Graham's book, also provides proof that comet pieces reached ancient Egypt. In Heliopolis, an ancient religion established a method to preserve historical knowledge for future generations in the form of astrological schematics and magnificent buildings. Will the comet reappear? Mr. Hancock said in 2015 essay published in the Daily Mail that an Earth-destroying comet was on its way to Earth in 20 years or 13 years from today. These magicians gave us a message, not a figurative spiritual message, but a concrete and urgent warning, he wrote. What has occurred in the past might happen again. What has wrecked their world can ruin ours. And let's remember, this is also in the book of Revelation, the last book of the New Testament, written by St. John the Theologian, the beloved disciple of Christ, that a shining star, which of course would be a comet at least, comets have tails and they look white as they disintegrate coming towards the sun. The shining star would hit the Earth. So there is a prophecy concerning another comet impact. So he wrote that what has occurred in the past might happen again. What has wrecked their world can ruin ours. He warned that the comet's impact will be 1,000 times worse than the detonation of every nuclear weapon on the world, and a collision with the remnants of a comet large enough to wipe out all life on Earth. This is on News 10 Jewel 24. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.